Yeah, what up, though? Nah, chop it up with me real quick. What up, though?
Check it though. I just want to say, I just got a phone call that Max B and Ja Rule getting into it at the Barclays. Sure. Right now, I just got a call. One of my mans was fuck with Chris Gotti, like they said, Gotti just called me, so he'll get to the Barclays now. I'm gonna keep you posted. I'm gonna keep you updated.
Max B and Ja Rule beefing at the Barclays?
I don't know. He just called me and said, yo, Max B and Ja Rule.
People were perplexed when they woke up today due to the outrageous rumors circulating about Ja Rule becoming embroiled in unanticipated trouble. Nobody anticipated this turn of events, and before the sun even rose, everyone was frantically searching for answers due to the story's overnight spread. Tasha K gave the initial account of the incident, claiming that Ja Rule was jumped outside a restaurant in New York. She claimed that members of her team saw it and informed her that it didn't look good. Because anything featuring Ja Rule and 50 Cent's circle always raises eyebrows, it was only inevitable that the entire internet began to chatter. However, Tasha K returned a few hours later and made everything obvious. She claimed to have mixed up the location because she was half asleep when the first message arrived. Her revised account states that Ja Rule was not at all jumped outside a restaurant. It is said to have occurred in a completely different location. The assertion that Fat Joe was present but did not assist only served to exacerbate the situation. She even made a joke about Fat Joe being too unfit to engage in combat, and just that remark sparked conversation. This is the section that immediately drew my attention. There is a simple method for determining whether a story like this is true each time it appears. Observe the celebrity's reaction time. When something is wholly fraudulent, they typically disregard it as if it didn't exist. However, you can tell there's at least something going on behind the murmurs when they immediately go online and try to stop it. And that's precisely what took place in this instance. Ja Rule rushed on the social media before the news had really taken hold in an attempt to refute everything and diffuse the issue before it became worse. His rapid response actually increased suspicion rather than dispelling any doubts. "Tasha, why are you lying to these good people?" was the stinging message that Ja Rule shot back at Tasha K after jumping into the conversation. He wanted everyone to believe that the whole thing was a hoax, but the reaction felt far too quick and defensive, so people weren't buying it very easily. The way this news spread overnight was insane, regardless of whether the whole truth is revealed or not. Additionally, Ja Rule's hasty attempt to shut it down simply made it louder. Ja Rule attempted to get ahead of the narrative and release his own account of what transpired as it began to circulate widely. He went online and said that several large, strange ninjas attempted to ambush him, but he clarified that this did not occur at the location that was being discussed. He said he had no marks on him, was relaxing, lighting up, and watching SVP. Then he sent another reply in which he made light of lawsuits and included laughing emojis as if it were nothing. He remarked, "You like getting sued, I see," and made a joke about how everyone wants to sue someone these days because it's become so popular. The amusing thing, though, is that no one could even figure out what Ja Rule believed he could sue Tasha K for. Since Tasha K didn't really lie, let's be honest, that lined up with the part about him being touched. Because she received the information while half asleep, her only error was mistaking the location. Furthermore, it doesn't suddenly become a major slander case. If something did occur, it did. This is the aspect of lawsuits that most people are unaware of. You must genuinely harbor animosity towards the person you are suing. You must detest them enough to put up with months of back and forth, worry, money, paperwork, and headaches. It's not a charming way to give someone a backhand clap. It requires energy that the majority of people don't have. Everyone knows that Ja Rule will not receive any money from Tasha K. Legally, the card is not going anywhere, no matter how many threats he makes. Discuss Ja Rule. He attended last night's Monica and Brandy show, and there are a lot of rumors around. I received a text from someone saying, "Fat Joe got knocked out." I received that from you, and I thought, what is happening? Yes, I replied by saying, I don't know that this is true, but somebody did send me that. To be honest, his hasty attempt to put an end to the situation simply made people examine it more closely. The internet went crazy trying to figure out who was responsible once Ja Rule essentially revealed something had happened, despite his attempts to minimize it. At that point, Max B's name began to circulate, as if he and his group had actually touched Ja Rule. The whole discourse was immediately turned upside down. Max B's name was included for a simple purpose. Max B was performing on stage at the same time that Ja Rule was backstage at the Monica and Brandy event at the Barclays Center. People were persuaded that something had happened between them just because of that overlap. A famous East Coast celebrity even made the outrageous assertion, Max B just knocked out Ja Rule backstage. Good night. Then while Zip with the Drip, well-known blogger, was live, his phone rang and someone on the other end allegedly informed him that Max B and his team had broken a rule. Everything became much more chaotic as soon as those claims appeared online. Things on the internet became even crazier as the rumors began to involve Max B. In response to Ja Rule's article, someone wrote, "Nah, Ninja, we heard Max B whooped your eye and stomped you out." And just that remark instantly put everyone into investigative gear. When Max B saw it, he fired back quickly, dropping this as a falsehood rather than a wave, which made folks question whether he was being serious or joking. People were already excited about the drama, so it was easy to read the tone either way. I would respond, "Who? Me?" if someone accused me of getting worked over by a random flaco. "No, not me, not flaco." People would continue to disagree about my intentions. However, Max B quickly cleared up any confusion. He returned to clarify that he wasn't being sarcastic. He had nothing to do with Ja Rule's situation. He was just being humorous. He didn't want to be involved in that rumor, not even in jest. "Don't tie me or my people to anything negative," he wrote on Twitter after stepping up his efforts. "We developed. We only have good vibes." All he needed to say was expressed in that message. Max B wasn't messing with his name or his freedom. Since he recently got his life back on track, he really shouldn't have to. He was aware that any story like this could cause him problems because he had just been freed. Naturally, he stopped it right once, since if you allow these whispers to continue, they could turn into something worse. Before things became twisted, he had every right to speak up and correct the record.
You suing me. Now, how long is it gonna take you to walk down there to the courthouse while you on Twitter calling me ugly and stank, saying I look like Tracy Morgan? All true. But what's true is that you got your ass jumped on for trying to crash the stage last night at a 50 Cent production. Did you get a little jealous at Max B? Because Max B was on the stage last night in New York, in your city, and you thought you would try to slide in?
People eventually began to piece together the true situation after a day of bewilderment. It turns out that Max B had nothing to do with Ja Rule's demise, not even a tiny amount. The real circumstances pointed in a completely different direction in favor of the 50 Cent camp. This is when things started to get interesting. There were rumors that 50 Cent sponsored or supported the Brandy and Monica event, therefore a large number of G-Unit-related individuals were present that evening. That establishes the tone because, depending on your point of view, Ja Rule's appearance there was either a hazardous or a brave act. When Ja Rule reportedly attempted to enter the stage during Max B's performance, things got more heated. The G-Unit affiliated security may not have been as okay with it as the audience. They were completely unaware of that movement. At that point, an altercation is said to have started. This is the crazy part. Behind the scenes, almost everyone appeared to know what actually transpired, but the larger media outlets continued to dance around the facts. They kept things ambiguous, as if the entire affair was a mystery, refusing to discuss the specifics, name names, or become involved. In the meantime, independent voices were the ones who followed the actual breadcrumbs and provided an explanation of what truly took place. When all was said and done, it was clear that Max B had nothing to do with the incident. However, the mayhem didn't end there. People involved in the building's operations are said to have intervened and attempted to run up on Ja Rule before he had even touched the stage. Even while the larger media outlets pretended not to know anything, everyone who was present at the event knew who was in the building and who got into it with Ja Rule. Because of this, the true story is ultimately revealed by independent voices. Tasha K came right out and stated exactly what people on the inside were telling her. while the mainstream teams danced around the details in an attempt to avoid upsetting anyone. She didn't dilute it. She avoided using ambiguous wording. She went straight to the middle of it. The production side of that event had a close relationship with 50 Cent, based on what she heard from some who were present in person and what others, like Zip with the Drip, claimed they were told. The crew wasn't made up of strangers. Many of them had been faithful to him for a long time, including those with close ties to the G Unit. That clarifies a lot of the reasons why the situation evolved as it did. But not all factory workers got involved. Not at all. People said that when Ja Rule attempted to cross the show's boundaries, a group associated with G Unit intervened. Legend is that J. Rule was informed he couldn't proceed past a certain point or go on stage. At that point, people connected to G Unit came forward and put an end to the entire situation. Anyone familiar with the past won't be surprised by this. For almost 30 years, Ja Rule and 50 Cent have been embroiled in one of the longest-running feuds in music history. No matter how many decades pass, it seems like the rivalry will never truly cease at this point. After all this time, it's amazing to see it still permeating real life.
Did you really buy Ja Rule's tickets, like seats at his concert? You did?
Cheap tickets. The tickets were very affordable.
Right.
They was on like StubHub. Yeah, I bought the first 4
How
rows.
many did you buy? If you say you bought the first 4 rows, is that a couple hundred?
Yeah, it was cheap though. It was cheap tickets, so it was something to do. Like if you don't look at me like that. Man.
All right, man.
We done it for years. It's just I looked at it. I said, "Yo, this is tough. I just want you to feel like you gotta reach the people." It's like,
But then the unexpected turn of events occurred. Tasha K made a revelation that altered people's perceptions of the initial rumors. According to her, Ja Rule was secretly telling others that Max B was the one who set him up or sent people after him. Everyone was shocked by the information since it clarified why Max B's name had initially begun to circulate. Like many others, I was unaware of that particular detail. It demonstrated how easily false information can proliferate when feelings are strong and old grudges are still there. Additionally, it clarified why the Max B myth gained so much traction despite having nothing to do with him. Tasha K always seems to have insider knowledge that the general world is unaware of. Furthermore, it begins to appear as though Ja Rule was attempting to fabricate the tale before the true story appeared online, if he was indeed whispering behind the scenes that Max B had set him up. Consider this. Losing a fight against Max B would be far less painful than learning the truth about those connected to 50 Cent. According to Ja Rule, accepting an L in relation to Max B feels like a less severe blow to the ego. However, given their lengthy history and the fact that decades of anger are still simmering now, hearing that 50 Cent's individuals touched Ja Rule backstage is a whole different level of discomfort. 50 Cent's response made the situation much more bizarre. He did not affirm anything, but he also did not refute it. Rather, he leaped onto Twitter and made a remark that was far too direct to overlook. "Now who would do a thing like that?" he wrote. "Simply strike him in the milk dud head." Funny. The entire internet raised an eyebrow at just one statement because it sounded like someone was taking excessive pleasure in the circumstance. To be honest, most folks only needed that one post as confirmation. 50 Cent has never been afraid to make fun of Ja Rule, and the message's tone was ideal for their rivalry. It felt more like a smirk and text form than a denial at all, as if he understood exactly what had happened and found fun in it all. This becomes merely another episode in an ongoing dispute if it truly has anything to do with 50 Cent's circle. Every few years, an unforeseen event brings these two back into the public eye. Every time it seems as though history is being repeated. Every time Ja Rule manages to take the harder blow. People are currently questioning whether this feud will ever really end. 30 years of stress is a long period, and it still obviously causes reactions in the real world. These two remain trapped in the same competition as if time had stopped, regardless of how much time goes by or how the music industry changes. If Ja Rule indeed attempted to shift the responsibility to Max B, it indicates that he thought the true story would hurt far more. To be honest, he wasn't incorrect. Even an indirect 50-cent engagement carries a new type of weight, particularly in light of their past. The scenario becomes more chaotic and dramatic with each new piece of information, demonstrating once more that this fight is likely to last longer than both of their careers. And based on how things continue to develop, no one should expect it going away very soon. People began looking into what initially caused that backstage hostility as the story progressed. Many people were unaware of how daring it was for Ja Rule to show up at a gathering where so many individuals had connections to 50 Cent, especially considering that their history predates most contemporary rap feuds. Even just being in the same building can rekindle old energy when two artists are carrying decades worth of conflict. And that's precisely what contributed to the situation's unpredictability. Backstage, many opposed Ja Rule going through specific locations. And when he persisted in moving forward, it became a real-time collision between long-standing loyalty and long-standing resentment. Even before anything happened, you could practically sense the tension.
The way the entire atmosphere changed as soon as the rumors appeared on social media was one thing that caught my attention. Attendees began sending out cryptic messages that hinted at something significant but did not provide identities. Everyone seemed to know something, but no one wanted to completely discuss it first, which led to a wave of bewilderment. Everything seemed very strange because of that quiet. Then, Tasha K revealed her piece of information, and all of a sudden, everything fell into place. Everything made more sense after she revealed the 50 Cent connection behind the production staff. The reasons why security responded so strongly, why Ja Rule was stopped, and why the rumors spread so quickly were all too specific to ignore. In the meantime, Ja Rule's attempt to divert attention to Max B demonstrated his awareness of the potential harm the true version could do to his reputation. After being embroiled in a rivalry for almost 30 years, you are aware of which narratives are more compelling and which you would prefer to steer clear of. Even if it didn't land the way he had wanted, it was a strategy and more than just damage control. At the same time, Max B's loved ones were irritated that his name had even come up. The man was actually on stage performing his set and going about his business, while a controversy that had nothing to do with him was becoming tied to him online. Everything makes sense that he wanted everything resolved right away. It became clearer that this wasn't a random backstage altercation with each new detail. It was just one more chapter in an ongoing feud. Given all that has surfaced, this entire issue demonstrates how deeply ingrained these long-standing music rivalries are. You would think the tension would subside after all these years. However, instances such as these demonstrate that certain beefs endure. They simply wait for the next spark to ignite everything once more. This time, the spark originated from an unexpected backstage moment. Everyone was rushing to find answers because of the way the rumors developed, changed, and twisted in a matter of hours. Max B's name was mentioned first, followed by a discussion of 50 Cent's people and Ja Rule's attempt to promote his own version of events. Every hour seemed to bring a fresh perspective, and everyone involved was attempting to tidy up something different. Here's the actual lesson, though. Ja Rule's own responses caused even more chaos. When people quickly get online to refute something, people take notice. And additionally, every time the adversary they have been at battle with for decades makes a clever remark that seems like a joke but seems like a message that rattles the internet. Although the 50 Cent's Milk Dud Head remark appeared lighthearted at first, everyone could tell it had that iconic 50 vibe. The scenario always becomes louder, messier, and 10 times more theatrical when he enters a plot. And people started wondering if the tension was still present after his name was associated, even if only tangentially. They knew it was. Conversely, Max B's quick clearing of his name demonstrated that he wasn't attempting to get pulled into an old-out controversy that never belonged to him in the first place. The last thing he wants is to be associated with a backstage incident that has nothing to do with his world when he's focusing on rebuilding his life. His quick reaction wasn't merely a showpiece. It was a man defending his peace. No matter how much Ja Rule attempted to control the narrative, people quickly caught on, and the murmurs just grew louder, making the night even more bizarre. The public cannot ignore the length, depth, and unvarnished relationship he has with 50 Cent. And now here we are, adding yet another chapter to an ongoing conflict. Even after decades, it continues to change, resurface, and astonish those who believed it was finally over. If anything, the fact that two legends have been embroiled in a feud throughout most of their careers proves that the past never truly goes away. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of celebrity insanity so you don't miss the next update. In the next one, I'll see you. You'll want to tap the video on your screen immediately for even more messy celebrity drama, I promise.